I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? She did it with me. That is so cool. I mean, everybody likes it when I do that. And I try to take it out and people were like, well, what's happening to the what's up?
I love it. I love it.
It is a great day, like I always said. And I always make it a great day on purpose. No matter what, it should always be a great day. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, just get back in bed and get up on the right side. That's it. Okay.
How about
just
that?
Do it. Just
Amen
do it.
To that. That's right.
That's right. And I have my guest here today, and she's an author of 2 books or more. I don't know. And I want to make sure I said her name right, but I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try.
Kylen, like Kyle with the N on the end. Kylen. That's okay.
I was so close.
That's okay. I get it all the time. Don't worry about it. No love lost here.
Oh, thank you. Kylen, thank you so much for being on this show, girlfriend.
Thank you, darling.
Well, tell us about yourself. How did you become a writer?
Well, it was I always inspired to write, but not like this. And what prompted me, what really got me into writing was in 2015, a brother discovered that he had 7 siblings that we didn't know he existed, and he didn't know we existed. And it was 5 years after the death of our mother. All right. And so in doing some research, not only did she live a dark past, but why she lived a dark past that drove her to bouts of severe depression and abuse. And it was behind her son. Now, don't get me wrong, because he's innocent in all of this, but she had to live a lie all of our lives because he was born before. I have a twin brother, so he was born before my brother and I were born. Mm-hmm. So it pushed me from number 3 to number 4. But here's the thing, he's biracial. So her husband, who was African-American, her first husband, they got married in 1952, December 1952. And in 1957, she had a biracial baby that did not belong to her first husband. All right. And I had to go and meet him. My brother met us in 2015. And he looks exactly like her baby brother.
Wow.
Now, back during the 50s, Jim Crow, they used to call my uncle the milkman's baby, but he was very Black. He looked just like his father.
Right.
So now my brother, I apologize. He flew from California to Philadelphia to meet me. He found me on Facebook through Facebook Messenger. And the message was, I need to know if you're related to, and he calls out my mom's name. And I make a bunch of phone calls and I know, does anybody know who this guy is? I know nothing about him. That maybe he's a former business partner of hers or something to that nature. No one seemed to know who he was. So I pull his picture up on the internet and I'm blown away by who he looks like, my mother's baby brother. And I said, oh my God, he looks like us. But then I blow it off. I think nothing of it. Mm-hmm. I reached back out to him after not getting any answers. And I said, well, I know who she is. I'm her oldest daughter. You are, following it up with a question. Moments later, he comes back and he says, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm your brother.
Oh my gosh.
And I was born to, and he names my mother. I literally, at this time, I'm 55 years old. I'm well into my 50s. So I'm falling out of the chair. I'm like, oh my God, no, this is impossible. My mother passed away in 2009. And when I told him this, I didn't give him a definitive date. I gave him the month and the year. Little did I know that he was already sitting on this documentation. So he had known this. He just needed me to confirm that. That was it. So he and his wife, they both grew up in Philadelphia, not far from where we live. So here we
What?
Yes. went to Dobbins Technical School, vocational school, graduated from Temple University, and we're here moments away from him. My mother knew this, but on her deathbed, she had a granddaughter that lived right around the corner from her. We didn't even know. We had no clue, but mom was throwing out clues because, you know, my mother passed away from RCC, renal cell carcinoma. And when hospice would come in, they said, you know, she's going to start seeing things and people that are not there.
Mm-hmm.
She did. She saw this baby. She was revealing her secret without revealing her secret, because she kept calling for the baby in the chair, which is one of the chapters in the book. She kept calling him by name. And so we look at each other, well, who's this baby that she keeps calling for? So one of her sisters was there one day, and I turned to my aunt and I said, do you know who this baby is that mom keeps calling for? She says, I have no idea. She passed away in February 2009. In August 2015, I meet my brother for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. He is handsome.
Mm-hmm.
I say he looks like me, but you know, he's very handsome, but he's not my father's child. So we had the DNA that was taken through Ancestry, and I write a chapter in my book on Ancestry,
Mm-hmm.
proved that he was my mother's child.
Oh my gosh.
And so she was forced to tell her husband. The baby was born in Philadelphia, and she held on to the baby for 15 days. So what does that tell you? She bonded with him until she couldn't present this baby to her father, because my father grew up in a Jim Crow era where he was still, my grandfather, where he was still looking down and not looking white men or women in their faces.
Oh my gosh.
You couldn't do it. She was from South Carolina, and she could not tell my grandfather that this baby was his grandson because he would never go for it. Not with her very Black husband.
Right.
All right. Now, this man thought that the baby, and he didn't care. He told me, I did 17 hours of an interview with him. He says, it wasn't me that couldn't handle it. It was your mother who couldn't handle it. He says, I believe that the baby was mine, regardless of his complexion. Look at your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was looking at. And my mother and her husband came up with a story to tell my grandparents that the baby died at birth.
Oh my God.
So she could not reveal that. Even
she put it up for adoption?
She put him up for adoption. And we never knew. So she could not, my parents met in 1958.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1957. Wow. She left her husband shortly after the baby was born, and then connected with my father, who was also married at the time. So now you have, right, you know exactly what I'm saying. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Wow. That's
out of that union came the first children my father had was myself and my twin brother, born in 1960. Okay.
No wonder he didn't care.
Who, my father?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't my father. It was my oldest brother's father. This was his, you know, my.
Oh my goodness, girl.
So you look at the back of the book, it says 3 marriages. 3 marriages. What happened to my mother, I will say, I don't really speak about, but only her body language, her action, everything she did, she had no business having any more children because she could not handle it, right? And so her last baby was born in 1972. So, you know, we're all shocked and surprised, but it has pretty much pitted my siblings somewhat against one another, which is sad.
Yeah.
You know? And we're dealing with mental health issues with, not me. Now, did I have issues writing the book? I came up against a lot of opposition. I didn't have issues because I was my mother's main target. The abuse was egregious. The abuse was, when I talk about it, she targeted me for whatever reason, and no one ever knew why. And I was her firstborn daughter. So when I say in the book, imagine your mother burying her teeth into your breast, that was me.
Oh.
I went through a lot. Yeah. I went through a
Oh
lot.
my gosh, I'm
I
so
went through a lot
sorry.
emotionally, but I got the help. When you're dealing with a mental health crisis,
Mm-hmm.
I was a walking, talking addict. I was a functional addict. I was working in corporate. I was on opioids. I was just trying to drown out my pain.
Yeah, I know how
Okay.
you feel.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, after my mother's death, now, don't get me wrong, because I wanted to love my mother and I wanted her to love me. I had a
Yeah.
relationship with my father, but she would accuse my father of sleeping with his daughters. It was her mind.
Oh my
And
gosh.
when she was diagnosed with kidney cancer, renal
Mm-hmm.
cell carcinoma, she wanted to go into therapy, and I would say, Mom, I'll set up your appointments for you and I will go with you. But when you go into therapy, you have to be honest. They cannot help you.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless you are forthcoming. And she would cancel the appointments.
Mm.
She would cancel her appointments because she knew she would have to be honest and disclose her secret. But she was really disclosing her secret on her deathbed.
My gosh.
I have a fabulous brother. I have a fabulous twin brother. I have fabulous sisters. I miss them. Some of them don't talk to me, and some of them don't talk to each other, but I have to keep moving on.
I know how you feel.
I have grandchildren that I focus my attention on. I'll take what I can get, whatever time I can get, they make me happy.
Yeah.
Right. And, the book is out. Is there, and I'm telling my story. You understand? Because too many people would come up to us and say, oh my goodness, it's a shame of what your father did to you. It was never my father.
Yeah.
Her family knew about it. It was a time I was 15 years old. Do you want to hear something graphic?
I don't know if I want to.
Okay, that's up to you. All right.
I don't know. Maybe my listeners? Go ahead. I won't
I'm
listen.
15 years old. And see, my mother became a Jehovah's Witness to run. She was running from her past. And she had a friend, and in 1975, she moved us, unbeknown to our father, to South Carolina. Her target with me was she would have me stripped and have my brother hold me on one side, my sister hold me on another, while she beat me in front of her friend who was a Jehovah's Witness. Oh yeah. Because I reached out to, why? Because I reached out to my father and told him I wanted to come home back to
Oh
Florida.
my gosh.
And that sent her into orbit. So I don't want anybody to think that this book is my way of getting even with her. Mm-hmm. When I began to write, I found healing in my writing. All right. And the reviews that you may see that are coming through, or I'm getting phenomenal reviews, because the book is raw. Right. So will be the podcast. It is raw. It tells that undisclosed truth. And it doesn't matter to me what anybody thinks.
Right.
It matters to me how I feel and what I think. Because I believe with the help I have gotten, I do have a good heart. I am a good person, and I'm not out there to hurt anyone. I don't want anybody to feel that I am trying to make anything out of this, but to allow people to hear my story. Maybe this could be a healing factor for them.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it. Yeah. So I would open up my lines to a podcast and say, let's talk about this unspoken truth. It is real. It is raw.
Yeah.
And that's where I am today. I'm glad that I appreciate you for having me on your show and saying, tell me about your book. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then I said, let me turn this around a little bit. Let me come from the drama, from the nonfiction part of it, and do something that lightens up the world.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear you. It is just something like, how would you say, you go through these circumstances, you go through these moments in time, all to get to where you're at today.
Right.
And you do have your podcast, Unspoken Truth, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then what's the name of the book?
Unspoken Truth from a Buried Past.
Okay.
All right. And Unspoken Truth is doesn't launch for about, it should be out next week by the 1st of July.
Okay.
And or the second week in July. So it was not going to come out until August, but we've completed our first season. So we're not doing a weekly podcast. It's starting out as a bi-weekly podcast.
Okay.
And just to kind of feel the market and where it's at. So having people just call, and even myself, just keeping it real and raw, keeping it down, and, just talking, talking, And I have another book coming out. Did you want to do your thing on that?
No, I wish we had time to do it.
Okay.
But what's the name of that book? Because what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the link in the description box below so that people can actually check it out. But I do know it's a kid's book, right?
Yes, it's about autism, and it follows my grandson. My oldest grandson is autistic, and he has wrapped his heart around mine and never let go. So the book is called I Think Differently, and it follows him from birth to 14, and he'll be 14 this September, and the book drops September 27th.
That's precious. That is precious. Yes. Definitely. So we're going to put that link in the description box below, along with the Unspoken Truth of Buried Past. Definitely put that. And also your podcast. We want to make sure that people can actually get that. Will that be on Spotify? And
it will be everywhere. And it will also be on my website. So look out for that. I'm very excited. And I heart you, girl. I hope I come back. I hope you have me back. Yes.
Anytime.
Yes.
Anytime. We had such a great conversation before. I was like, do we have time to do the podcast? But we had time. We had just enough time. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it so much. And your history and your story and your advice. Thank you.
Yes. Just tell everybody out there, just no matter what you're dealing with, stay strong. If you believe in the power of prayer and God, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't. Stay strong.
That's right.
One love
Stay strong.
One love
always. Okay. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And also don't forget to comment below. You may have some things that you want to say, some questions you may have to, get off your mind or your heart or whatever. We'll answer what we can, and what we can't answer, we'll put it up in prayer for you. But definitely don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and let's listen to some more episodes here. Okay. I'm just saying, because we got some great content and amazing people that come on this show. It's not about celebrity status. It's not about anything else. What this show is all about is a mentorship. It's also to get you to move in your direction and go after your dreams. We really, truly want you to see that you can do this. This is not something that's out of your reach. It's not something that's so far away that you can't reach it. Baby steps, darling. Little by little, you will get there. Okay. I want to thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.
I dare to be different.